So this is a big one, man. This is a big one. So the way women overestimate their ability to communicate in 2024 is fucking nuts. It's fucking nuts. I don't understand it. I have questions. I have questions. So, give y'all an example. Real quick. Shorty had hit me with the, "Oh, we need to talk." Okay, we have a conversation. Going into the situation with Shorty, "Oh, I can communicate. Oh, well, I'm an open book. It's nothing guessed with me. You know what's going on, bitch. I ain't no shit. I didn't know a goddamn thing. I'm a person that I need to at least get the gist of it. I don't need every minuscule detail. That's over communicating to me, and that shit's annoying, right? I don't need every minuscule detail, but however, I do need to know the gist of the information, right? So I'm a person that needs to know if you got something going on. I don't even need to know exactly what it is. Just express you got something going on. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And women that over communicate, that shit is that, fam. I don't want to do all this talking about nothing. Because that's what it is. It's a lot of talking about nothing. I need a happy medium, right? I need a happy medium to where, you can let me know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? And I can act accordingly.
Fuck the details. What's going on?
Right. Fuck the details.
That's
I don't give a fuck what Susie May is doing at your fucking job, yo. I'm gonna be honest with you. I really don't. Now, if it's something concerning you, if she fucks you over, yes, now you can tell me about Susie May. But like, if you just telling me some shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, fam,
work drama.
Yeah, like now, mind you, I listen to it, but I only listen to it for a little bit. You got about 10 minutes out of me. You got about a good 10 minutes. You
15
better.
if it's fire.
Yo, yeah, 15 if it's fire. 15 if it's fire. But you got about a good 10 minutes out of me from start to end of the story.
So here's the thing I don't understand, right? Like, I'm not gonna sit here and bore my woman with football shit. Right. And anime. No, I'm gonna call up my niggas and talk that shit, bro. So why the fuck you gonna sit here and bore me about goddamn
they consider that
female drama?
Time.
Like, nah, like that's not like I don't care. I don't care about who was dating who on Love and Hip Hop or Real Housewives of Atlanta. I don't want to hear about none of that. Call your homegirl. She wants to hear that shit. I don't want to hear none of that.
Unless we watching the show together.
Now we're watching the show together.
Now, yeah,
we'll watch Love is Blind.
Yeah, we'll watch Love is Blind. When we watching Love is Blind, that nigga Ramsey's with that thong on. Yeah, yo, fam. I missed the episode. You watched it without me? What happened? You know what I'm saying? Like, I need to know.
That thong on,
yeah. Oh, you ain't see that shit?
No.
Oh.
I knew I didn't like him, bro. I said, bro, as soon as they was like, yeah, man, we're redefining masculinity, I was like, oh, fuck off.
Yeah.
As soon as he was on that bullshit, like, yeah,
and then Nick and Hannah. You don't do nothing, Nick. You don't do nothing. You're not even a grown man. I made you. Yo, fam. Yeah. Hannah, you get your fucking ass out of here, yo.
Yeah, Hannah, get your bitch ass out of here.
Hey, yo. D over here like, what the fuck are y'all talking about?
What's going on? I'm just sip my drink.
Mind
my business.
Hey, yo, fam. When you watch, I gotta watch it because the girls at work be talking about it. And I do, you know what I'm saying? Like, it'd be like the only black girls at work. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they be talking about it. So, like, that's the only black community I have at work. You know what I'm saying? So, it's like, I like Love is Blind. Don't get me wrong. I like the show, but it's like, yo, I gotta watch it, bro. I gotta watch it. Yeah, for sure. All right, but no. Do y'all? The question I want to pose to the panel is: do y'all think that women overestimate their abilities to communicate? Is that a thing?
Absolutely. That's why a lot of times conversations are so hard to have, because even if they do have the ability to speak their mind,
yeah,
they're not really speaking their mind to grasp your feedback.
Right.
And that's where the communication becomes like
They would
that's when it actually starts.
They would rather be heard.
They would rather be heard and not actually, having that conversation.
Right.
To actually, dive into the real meat of what's going on. They want to deal with the superficial stuff and go ahead. Yeah, they rather deal with the superficial stuff because it's easier to do that than to dig deep. And that's also where the accountability comes in. But once you respond to what was said,
right?
It's communication is amongst two people.
Right.
You saying, you getting this off your chest, you speaking your mind, telling your truth, blah, 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 whatever. That's not communication.
Yeah, I think
you have to. It has to be a back and forth. You know what I'm saying? Not an argument. Not communication.
You have to be open-minded to perspective.
To listen to the feedback from what you just said.
Right. Yeah. So I think what it is, and I kind of spoke on this before on the podcast, is there's communication and then there's effective communication, right? I think that women think that they're great communicators because they talk a lot.
Right.
No, you're talking a lot, but you're not
just a yapper.
Yeah, but you're not communicating effectively. I can't tell you how many conversations
that fluff.
That I've had with women. I'm saying like we're not talking. You're talking at me. You know what I mean? You're not. You know what I mean?
You're not talking to me.
You're right. You're not talking to me. You're talking at me. Like this isn't even a conversation. I can't even get a word in. You get what I'm saying? So this isn't. You know what I mean? Right. Like you're speaking, like you said, your truth or whatever. But like you're not even trying. You're not even asking me any questions.
So go ahead and jump on that.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Like that is the one thing I had to get to the.
They're good at venting.
Venting. Yeah. They're great. They're great at letting their stuff out.
And
so,
but we're supposed to just absorb it.
But you see how women communicate with each other. Like, girl, I gotta tell you about my day. Like, yo, fam, you're doing nothing but venting. You're doing nothing but venting because the other girl on the other end of the phone. Like, have y'all ever been with a shorty and her friend called to vent? Girl, I gotta tell you about my day. Let me tell you about what happened at work. And the girl just sitting on her, okay.
No, it's hilarious because they don't even like it when it's you know what I mean when they homegirls is jumping on them, but then they do the same thing to us.
Right.
And like to me, like an effective communication. I was having this discussion with a lady, but it was like you have to ask questions. You get what I'm saying? Like, hey, what do you think about this? Hey, I was doing this thing. What are your thoughts? Or, you know what I mean? I noticed you did this. Okay, well, tell me more about that.
What made you do that?
Right. What made you do it? Now we're having a conversation. Like if you had a problem, like, hey, you were doing this thing and it really confused me. I didn't want to take it the wrong way. So can you like further explain your actions? You get what I'm saying? Where it's like you're actually trying to understand where I'm coming from. Versus you did this thing, I didn't like it, and it made me feel like this, and that just means that you're you get what I'm saying?
And then you like I said, and then the rebuttal is where the communication starts because how do you respond to what I said in response to what you said to me?
Right.
Like, does that change your demeanor? Are now you aggressive now? Are you defensive based off of that? That's all a part of communicating.
Right.
You have to be able to control those emotions and still express what the actual issue is.
Right.
Because a lot of times what happens is they'll feel like they've been put in a box.
Yeah.
And then, 3 weeks ago, you ain't take out the trash. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, how the fuck did we get here? You know what I'm saying? Like we was talking about this. I acknowledged my faults. And I said, but this, that, and the other. Oh, I did that. You know what I'm saying? Right. Blah, blah, blah. So, that's how they break down in the communication because they don't really want to talk about stuff.
I want to touch on this. D says, what about when you're trying to communicate with a person and they are not trying to communicate back? Their responses are barely existent. So one thing though I do want to touch on too.
That's what I'm saying. It's a two-way street.
Yeah. But what I do want to make sure, because it depends on the situation of why they're not communicating.
Yeah.
But one thing that I've noticed is like, especially with women, you have to be careful with punishing the truth. You get what I'm saying? That's a big reason why a lot of men shut down, because they already know where this is gonna go, right? You start going down this joint, and they're like, "Oh man, if we go down this road, it's gonna be yap 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 yap." You get what I'm saying?
A 15-minute conversation turned into a fucking hour and 15 minutes, yo.
You get what I'm saying? So you got to be careful about punishing.
3 days later,
right? About punishing the truth. You know what I mean? And so you just got to understand that. You got. Now, I'm not saying you can't have boundaries, but like, be careful about punishing the truth. Like, you know what I mean? When they say something, you don't like it, just sit with it a little bit. Like, okay, all right, let me try to think about this. It's not making sense to me, but let me think about this.
You know what?
You get what I'm saying?
More so recently, I've learned to how to do that. Be like, you know what? I'm hearing what's being said. You know what? You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. That's
or not even that.
No. But that's my response, because I can't tell somebody how to feel.
Oh,
so
right.
So you're absolutely right to sit in your feelings this way.
Right.
Yep, you're absolutely right. And then I go back and sit with it.
Right.
I go back and sit with it after that.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, you know what?
Yeah.
No, that was factual.
Yeah.
That's really factual, because I can agree to something in the moment. I can agree to something in the moment, because if you're expressing to me how you feel, I can absolutely agree to that, because I can't tell you how to feel. Right. But if you relaying that to me, yes, you know what? You're absolutely right. That was fucked up. You know what? You're absolutely right. I get it. I get where you're coming from, right?
Or like, you know what I'm saying? Like, not only that, okay, everyone has a right to their feelings, but let's say, going back to Love Is Blind, right? There was a whole thing where she was saying, I felt like you're being disrespectful. He was saying, no, I don't really feel that way. But however, it's taking the moment to like, hold on, let me sit with that and think about it, and be like, okay, I can understand how you feel that way. I can understand. Let me think about it a little bit. Hold on. Let me think about it. I wasn't trying to be disrespectful, but I can understand how you feel that way. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Where it's like you're kind of validating, you know, their feelings, and just saying, hey, look, you know, I'm just a sociable person. You know what I mean? And so I'm not trying to flirt, but that's just how I am as a person. Right. But you know what I mean? And so it's like, you're not dismissing them by just saying, oh, no, I wasn't being disrespectful. But it's just saying like, hey, I understand that wasn't my intention, but I understand. It's just like, you get what I'm saying? It's just kind of like,
and that's another thing. Like, if you are an effective communicator, you are overly emotional. You can take the time to say, okay, let me process what was said, and then let me, you know, speak my mind as well, without it being defensive, aggressive, emotional. But it has to be on both ends, because that's the only way that you can effectively communicate. Like he said, I can break down everything, but if you don't give two fucks about what I'm saying,
I mean, of course, I mean, that's kind of like they say you can be a genius, but if you're talking to an idiot, man, it's not going to be a productive conversation.